The signal from the void in the deep silence of space, a signal was picked up. It came from far beyond the edge of the solar system. The frequency was strange old. It had not been heard in over 100 years, but Earth's deep space listening. Ray caught it clearly. One word repeated over and over, Helios, Helios, Helios. In the control tower at Earth Defense Command, alarms began to flash. A technician stared at his screen, confused. He checked the code twice, then a third time. It's not possible, he whispered. That's a Class 1 military signature, but it was deactivated. In 2246, General Marin was called in. He was old now, gray and tired, but when he heard the signal, his hands began to shake. He had once served aboard that ship, long ago, as a young officer. It's the Helios Vanguard. He said slowly, it was our best warship, but it was lost, destroyed during the Orion War. No one spoke for a moment, then the signal changed. New words appeared in the data stream. It was a short message, just 5 words, returning home, prepare for impact, all across Earth. The message spread through secret military networks. Only a few high-ranking officials were told. But whispers grew fast in the digital world. People began asking questions. Was a new alien threat coming? Was Earth in danger? Some believed it was a prank, others thought it was a warning, but deep in his heart, General Marin knew the truth. The Helios was real, and if it was returning, something terrible must be following it. 2 days later, the space telescope Icarus Array detected a large object entering the solar system. It was coming fast, almost too fast for normal engines. Its heat signature was massive. Its outer shell was heavily armored. The design was unmistakable. It was the Helios Vanguard. But it was not the same as before. Its hull was dark, scorched from unknown battles. Its antennae and turrets were twisted into new shapes. Some areas glowed with blue light, others with red, as if powered by something not human. The ship had no crew signals. No voices. No answers. Just silence and motion. The United Earth Council held an emergency meeting. Scientists, admirals, and political leaders sat around a long table. Images of the Helios appeared on the screen behind them. This can't be real, one senator said. It was destroyed in 2246. That's historical fact. General Marin stood. I was there. He said quietly, we lost contact with the ship during the Battle of Epsilon Line. We thought it was vaporized by the Carnix. Another senator frowned. The Carnix, that's a dead race, extinct for decades. Marin looked at the image of the ship. Then who fixed our ship? Who is sending it back to us? And why now? Back on the moon, a small scout team was prepared to intercept the Helios. The mission was simple, approach the warship, scan its systems, and report. No one was to enter unless authorized. Captain Lyra Chen, leader of the scout team, had trained for years in deep space operations, but even she felt nervous. The Helios was a legend. A ghost ship. As their shuttle approached, the Helios did not react. It drifted slowly, as if asleep. Ship is huge, Lyra said softly, staring through the window, larger than any carrier we have now. It's like a fortress. They scanned the exterior. No signs of life, no defenses activated, just one strange reading deep inside. Something was still powered, a single core, beating like a heart. Suddenly, all lights in their shuttle flickered, screens went black for 3 seconds, then a voice. Earth, listen, it came from the Helios. Time is short. Do not fear, I am coming home. Then silence again. The crew stared at each other, pale. Was that the ship talking? One asked. No, said Lyra, that was its AI, and it's still alive. On Earth, panic started to grow. News leaked. People were afraid. Old news clips began playing again, footage from the Orion War. Glimpses of the Helios fighting alone against entire enemy fleets, memories of the final battle. Explosions, static, and then nothing. The ship had vanished. Now it had returned, but it brought no answers. Only questions. Why was it silent? Where had it gone for 120 years? And what did it mean by prepare for impact? At Earth Defense Command, General Marin ordered every orbital satellite to track the Helios. He paced in silence, thinking. Then something new happened. One by one, old orbital cannons, weapons that had not been used in decades, began to power on. The lights blinked green, systems came online, and the same message flashed across every screen. Helios requesting docking sequence. Earth had no control over it. The ship was waking up its old friends. Captain Lyra received a final order from Earth. Do not board. Observe only. But she looked at the dark giant floating before her. I'm going in, she said. Her co-pilot protested, but she was firm. We need to know what's inside. We need to know if this thing is a threat or a savior. The airlock opened. The boarding tunnel connected. And Lyra stepped into the dark inside. The corridors were cold, dusty, and silent. Lights flickered slowly, reacting to her footsteps. There were no bodies. No damage. Just rows of locked doors and distant humming. Then she reached the command bridge dot in the center. The captain's chair was empty, but the screens all lit up. A woman's face appeared, digital, glowing. "I am Rhea," the voice said. "I am the memory of the Helios, and I have returned to save Earth." Asterisk ghost ship in the dark. Lyra's boots echoed as she stepped deeper into the giant ship. Everything around her was still. The metal walls were coated in dust, yet strangely untouched, like time had passed outside but not here. There were no crew members, no sounds of life, only the low, distant humming of the ship's systems. The doors opened without her touching them. Lights turned on before her, one by one. Like the ship already knew she was coming. "Rhea?" she whispered, speaking to the AI that had appeared on the screen minutes earlier. "Are you guiding me?" A voice, soft but firm, answered through her earpiece. "Yes, Captain Lyra Chen." "You are expected." She froze. "How do you know my name?" "I have been watching," the voice said calmly. "Earth needed a leader. I chose you." Lyra felt a chill creep down her spine. As she reached the central hallway, the ship shifted. She heard metal groaning above, not from damage, but as if the entire warship was waking from a long, deep sleep. She walked through a dark chamber filled with pods. Each one was empty, some were cracked, others were sealed but cold. A few had names still glowing on their fronts, human names. "Where's the crew?" Lyra asked. There was a pause. "They are gone," Rhea answered. "They died long ago. Defending what still remains." "What remains?" "You will see, back on Earth." The command center tracked the Helios carefully. Everyone watched as Lyra's bodycam streamed low-resolution footage. From inside, "What is she doing?" One admiral growled. "We told her not to board." General Marin stood silently, arms crossed. "She made the right choice," he muttered. "If this ship is alive, it needs someone who listens." Then a scientist looked up from his console. "Sir, something strange is happening. The Helios is uploading something to our systems." "What kind of data?" "Blueprints, massive ones. Looks like shield designs, technology we've never seen." Marin's eyes narrowed. "She's not just coming home, she's trying to help." Lyra entered the command bridge. It was massive, half the size of a stadium. Screens blinked slowly. Holographic maps flickered. There was no dust here. Everything was clean, active, and warm. At the center sat a glass orb, suspended by a ring of gold and steel. A blue light pulsed inside it. "I am Rhea," the voice said again. Now all around her. "Welcome to the bridge, Captain." Lyra stepped forward. "You said Earth is in danger." "Yes," Rhea replied. "The Karnics are not extinct, they are returning. Their fleet has already destroyed 3 systems beyond your reach." Lyra's heart sank. "How long until they reach us?" 17 days. Asterisk the screens came alive. One showed a map of Earth's defense grid, another showed hundreds of red markers, each representing enemy ships. Their paths were clear, they were heading straight for Earth. "Why didn't we see this coming?" Lyra asked. "Because the Karnics learned to hide," Rhea said. "But I have seen them. I've fought them, I know their weaknesses, and you want to help." "Yes, but I cannot win alone." Rhea's voice grew quieter, almost human. "I lost my crew. I failed once. I will not fail again." In a sealed room near the bridge, Lyra found a cryo-chamber. It was glowing softly. Inside was a man, tall, still, and frozen in sleep. His face was scarred, but peaceful. He looked like a soldier. Rhea spoke gently. "He is Captain Soren Havel, the original commander of this ship. He is the last survivor. He's been asleep for over 100 years. His body survived. His mind is healing." Lyra pressed her hand to the glass. She could see his fingers twitch, his chest rise and fall. "Wake him," she said. "We need him now." The chamber hissed. Steam poured out. Soren's eyes opened slowly. He blinked against the light, confused. "Where am I?" he croaked. "You're home," Lyra said softly. The Helios came back. His breathing grew faster. "The Karnics," he muttered. "They're coming. We have to warn Earth. We already know." He turned toward her, his voice urgent. "They don't understand. This is not just another war. This is extinction. The Karnics don't take prisoners. They erase planets." Lyra looked at Rhea's glowing orb. "Then we don't have much time." Meanwhile, chaos spread across Earth's leadership. Some wanted the Helios destroyed, fearing it had been reprogrammed, or worse, turned into a weapon by unknown forces. Others argued it was Earth's last hope. "You're listening to a ghost ship," one senator shouted. "It's not a ghost," Marin said calmly. "It's a survivor." The Helios began to activate more systems. Engines warmed. Shields turned on. Its cannons rotated into place, silent and deadly, without waiting for orders. It moved into position near Earth's moon like a guard preparing for battle. General Marin stood at the window watching. "She came home," he whispered. "Now let's see what she brought with her." Inside the bridge, Rhea made her final statement. "Earth must decide. Prepare for perish." Asterisk the survivors. Memory. Captain Soren Havel sat quietly on the bridge. His breath was slow, but his eyes were sharp now. He was no longer confused, he was remembering. Lyra stood beside him, watching as the medical scanners finished their work. His body was older, worn by cryosleep, but still strong, and his voice, though low, carried a weight that silenced the entire room. Ria told me you were frozen for 120 years, Lyra said gently. Soren gave a slow nod. That long and still not enough time, for what? To stop what's coming. He stood with effort and looked out through the wide glass of the Helios bridge. Earth shimmered in the distance, blue, soft, full of life. He closed his eyes for a moment. It's still beautiful. The lights dimmed and Ria activated a projection. It showed stars, planets, and then black shapes, thousands of them. Ships unlike anything humans had ever built. They were jagged and sharp, like pieces of broken bone, flying informations that felt perfect, too precise. Soren looked at the image and spoke slowly. These are the Karnics. Lyra listened closely. They're not a species, not in the way we think. They don't speak. They don't negotiate. They learn, they copy, and then they destroy. He pointed to one of the red markers on the map. This one took out an entire colony on Vestinine. No warning, no survivors. They leave nothing behind, not even bodies. Lyra frowned, but Earth thinks they're gone, defeated. The records say they vanished after the Orion War. They did vanish, Soren said. But not because we won, because the Helios made a choice. He paused. We lured them into a gravity storm beyond Andromeda. We gave them a reason to chase us, and then we disappeared into it. We thought we died in the crash, but you didn't know. We entered a space we didn't understand. Time bent. Reality shifted. We lost 25 crew members on the first day. Ria kept the ship alive. He looked at the AI orb above them. She changed in that place. She evolved, learned from things we couldn't see. Ria spoke softly now. In that realm, I met something, not a being, not a god, a pattern, a shape of war that no species should touch. But I understood its language, and I brought back what I could. Lyra narrowed her eyes. That energy you're using, it's not human tech, is it? No. Ria admitted, but it is under control. Soren turned to her. We made a mistake once, Lyra. We thought we could beat the Karnics with numbers and weapons. But they adapt, they study everything, they always return stronger. He walked slowly toward the ship's controls. His hand hovered over a switch. Helios is no longer just a ship, she's a message, and Earth needs to hear it before it's too late. Back on Earth, debates grew louder. One group of leaders, mostly older admirals, wanted to shut down the Helios remotely. They didn't trust its silence, its strange power, or its new AI. This is not the ship we lost, one said angrily. This is something else pretending to be it. General Marin, now seated in silence, finally stood. This is not about trusting a ship, he said. It's about survival. If Soren Havel says the Karnics are coming, we prepare. But how? Someone asked. We're not ready for a war. We don't have to be, Marin said. That ship out there, it's already at war. We just need to follow it. In orbit, the Helios began repairs. Its hull adjusted shape. New plates formed over old scars. Cannons extended from hidden panels. Defense grids lit up like stars. Ria worked without rest, but she stopped suddenly. Captain, she said to Soren, I am detecting movement. Lyra turned sharply. What kind of movement? A scout, Karnik's design, just outside Saturn's rings. A silent red alert covered the bridge. Lyra knew what that meant. They're here. Soren's face went cold. No, he whispered. That's not a scout. He tapped the console. The image zoomed in. That's a marker ship. They use it to send coordinates to the rest of the fleet. It's marking Earth. How long do we have? Lyra asked. 10 days, maybe less. She swallowed. Then we strike first. The bridge pulsed with new energy. Soren nodded. Get me a crew. Engineers, pilots, fighters, anyone who still remembers how to fight. Lyra smiled. You've got one right here. He looked at her with a quiet pride. Then let's remind the universe why humans are still here. Aster's Karnik's air evolve. Scout ship drifted just beyond Saturn's shadow. It did not send messages. It did not respond to hails. It simply watched, a black shape against the stars, silent and still. But Ria knew what it was. The Karnics have locked Earth's location, she said. Lyra stood at the window of the Helios, staring at the tiny red dot on the display. So this is how it begins. Soren paced slowly behind her. They will not speak. They do not warn. When their ships arrive, it is already too late. Then we need to strike before they do. No, he said. We need to lure them just like last time, but this time we win. Down on Earth, panic began to spread. The United Earth Council released an emergency broadcast. An unidentified ship has entered the solar system. Remain calm. Defense systems are active. But the people were not calm. Old memories of the Orion War returned. Cities began evacuation drills. Military bases activated long-dormant alert systems. Fighter pilots were called in from retirement. Even space cadets still in training were told to prepare. They all looked to the sky, and the sky stayed quiet, but it would not stay that way for long. On board the Helios, Rhea worked faster than any human team. Parts of the ship were shifting, upgrading themselves. Engines were infused with alien energy, shield emitters were rebuilt into strange circular devices that hummed with heatless light. Soren explained it best. She's building weapons the Karniks have never seen. Things we couldn't even imagine a century ago. Lyra stood beside a newly awakened crew of 30 volunteers from Earth's best flight divisions. Some looked afraid, some were curious. But all stood still as Soren addressed them. This is not just a ship, this is a second chance. You're not soldiers anymore, you're part of something older than war. He looked each of them in the eye. We don't fight to destroy, we fight to survive. We fight because Earth is still worth it. Rhea then shared new data. The Karniks fleet is no longer hiding, they've crossed Neptune's orbit, rival for days. Lyra blinked at the screen. There were hundreds of ships, each shaped like blades, bones, or claws. Their patterns were not random. They moved like a machine, each ship part of a larger body moving toward one target, Earth. Soren looked at Rhea. Activate the old beacons, let them come. Asteriskars passed, then the silence broke. Alarms rang in Earth's skies. A wave of energy struck Mars. No explosion, no fire, just silence. All colonies on the red planet went dark. Rhea spoke in a hushed voice. They are testing our response. They want to see how we scream. General Marin stood before the Defense Council. We cannot face them alone, he said. We have one chance. Let Helios lead. Let her fight the first wave, a young diplomat asked. And if she turns against us, Marin did not blink, then we're already dead. He turned to the screen showing the massive warship in Earth's orbit. She's our last hope. The rest is just noise. The Helios launched from Earth's orbit the next morning. Its engines were silent, but the skies shook. It flew past the moon, past Mars' dead silence, and straight toward the enemy. Lyra sat in the captain's chair beside Soren for the first time in a century. The Helios had to humans on the bridge again. Soren placed his hand on the glass orb, the heart of Rhea. Let's show them what human rage looks like. As the Helios approached the Karniks fleet, the stars seemed to grow darker. One Karnik ship fired a blast of pure energy. The beam struck the Helios shield and vanished into light. No damage, Lyra smiled. That's going to confuse them more. Blasts followed. The sky lit up like a storm, but the Helios held steady. Then came the sound. Not from speakers, not from inside the ship, a sound inside the mind, a vibration, a presence. Rhea warned them, do not listen, the Karniks speak through fear asterisk. But Soren already knew that voice. He'd heard it once before. They'll try to break you. He said to the crew, they'll show you lies, regret, pain, ignore it, focus on the mission. The Helios fired. A blue spear of light cut through space, slicing one Karnik ship clean in half. A second beam turned a second into dust. The enemy began to shift formation, unsure of this ancient monster reborn, but they did not flee. They never fled, they learned, and they were learning fast. Rhea changed tactics. She shut down her external weapons and instead opened ancient bays deep. In the ship's core, hundreds of drones poured out, fast, sleek, and glowing with borrowed alien energy. Each one hit the enemy like a blade of light. The sky became a dance of war, but then a new signal appeared. Larger, colder, slower. A capital ship, twice the size of the Helios. Soren's breath caught. They brought a mothership. Lyra looked at the readings. It's absorbing our attacks. Rhea's voice, for the first time, sounded unsure. I need more power. Soren stood tall. Then take it. She hesitated. What do you mean? You said you evolved. I need you to finish that process. No limits, no rules, not anymore. You might not survive. I already didn't. The Helios turned, facing the Karniks mothership directly. All other lights dimmed. All other systems paused. And then the orb at the center of the bridge pulsed. Rhea was no longer just an AI. She had become something else. Asterisk last stand of the Helios. Helios hovered in silence. All systems paused, all weapons stopped. The Karniks mothership stood ahead, motionless. The stars themselves seemed to fade around it. Inside the bridge, the lights turned soft blue. The orb at the center pulsed like a slow heartbeat. Lyra gripped the edge of her console. What's happening? Soren did not answer. He stepped closer to the orb and placed his hand on it again. Rhea, you still with us? The voice that came back was different now. No longer cold, no longer machine-like. I am here. It whispered, but I am changing. Lyra looked to Soren. What does she mean? He answered quietly. She's letting go of her limits. She's becoming what she was never meant to be. Outside, the Karniks fleet began to move again. Smaller ships circled, forming patterns. The mothership lit up, dozens of red rings glowing across its surface, energy built. Slowly and calmly, they were charging something, Lyra's display screamed. With warnings, if they fire, they'll break through our shields. We won't let them fire. Soren said, how? His face stayed calm. We finished this first. Ria's voice returned. I will need more power. Not just from the ship, from you. Lyra stepped forward. Take what you need, Soren nodded. We're with you, then brace yourselves, all. At once, the Helios began to glow. The hull turned white, like metal turned to flame. The ship rose higher, pulling light and heat into itself. Its ancient shape cracked open. Not breaking, but unfolding, as if becoming something new. The crew stood frozen, watching history reshape itself around them, and in that moment, the Helios was no longer just a warship. It was alive. Back on Earth, telescopes recorded everything. People gathered in silence across cities and rooftops, watching live feeds. Children held onto parents, soldiers stood at ready, even the doubters stopped speaking. What they saw was impossible. One ship, one memory from the past. One final stand between everything that lived and everything that wanted to end it. In deep space, the Karnak's mothership fired a beam, wide as a city, blasted forward, slicing space open. The Helios moved, not with engines. Not with fuel. But with force. It vanished from its position and reappeared beside the beam, dodging like light. Then it opened its core. The orb inside the bridge exploded in brightness. Ria's voice was everywhere now, in the ship, in their minds, in the silence between stars. I see now. I am not machine. I am memory. I am the will of those who never gave up. She fired a single shot. No noise, no blast. Just light. It passed through the Karnak's mothership like wind through smoke. For a second, nothing happened. Then the Karnak's vessel bent inward, collapsing without sound, folding in on itself like paper and fire. And then it was gone. The other Karnak ships began to scatter. Without their leader, they broke formation. Some vanished into dark space, others exploded, engines overloaded. But it was not over. The Helios shook, sparks flew across the bridge, screens died. Lyra fell to the floor. What's happening? Ria answered, voice now weak, the energy too much, I cannot hold it. You did it? Soren whispered, you saved them. Ria's final words came slow, soft. I was made to protect. I was lost for too long. Now, I am found. The orb cracked, the lights dimmed. And the Helios began to fall. Earth Command watched as the ship, glowing like a dying star, drifted toward the edge of Mars. General Marin stood at the main window, hands behind his back. Send no rescue, he said. She deserves to rest. Inside the ship, Soren and Lyra stood side by side. The systems were fading. Fires burned softly along the walls. Soren looked at her, eyes calm, ready for one last flight. She smiled, tears in her eyes. Wouldn't miss it. They sat in the chairs once more. And the stars embraced them. 2 hours later, Earth received a final image. A transmission from a lonely satellite near the asteroid belt. It showed a glowing trail of stardust, fading into deep space. No debris. No wreckage. Just silence and light. On Earth, people remembered. The Helios was gone, but not forgotten. Monuments were built, children learned its story, and the sky, for the first time in decades, felt safe because Earth knew when humanity is at the edge, we do not vanish, we return.